Мы вроде бы научились читать. Ясно. Буквально мы все-таки не изучили. Походу. Я ж у него даже еще букваря не купил. Гони буквари. Так, так. А я тебе... Так, так. Карту себе оставлю одну. Бегом читать. Офигеть, 9 часов читать книгу, в которой несколько страниц. Я за 9 часов могу прочитать страниц 100, наверное. Это все мы можем пропустить. Мы все это видели. В прошлом видео.
Who was Limpy? A poor craft. He kept company.
Та-та-та.
How come he limped? Has he been up to it? Did he? Yeah.
Да мы все знаем.
When did you? Just now. What's this? Looks like someone's hit him very hard on the head. Could they have bludgeoned him to death and then gutted him? That would explain why he didn't scream. Lord above, they did a hell of a job on him. Must have been agony. How come no one heard anything? Judas. Looks like this is meant to be a warning. But for who? And why? Maybe the gang had a falling out. But a bandit who knows how to write isn't something you see every day. Armour? Well, it seems Lubosh wasn't your everyday crofter. And judging by the bloodstains, it looks like he lived the way he died.
Так, нужно нормально что-нибудь, доспехи какие-то пускать. Так, и ничего не выкинул.
Jesus Christ, be... Another thing. I found armor in his house, covered in blood.
God preserve us. Everyone knows he was a violent oaf. At least he never did that. God be with you.
A bed. A bed.
Ты куда?
Поеду покатаюсь.
Со мной.
Mm.
А?
Nothing here.
Да.
Good evening.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now
I don't know how I can help.
Who was this Lubosh who was murdered?
You could see at first glance he was no good. I kept well out of his way.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
There wasn't sight or sound of him for a long time. And then yesterday, he turned up at the church and even talked to the parish priest.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof?
I don't think he was home.
Do you know who Lubosh used to spend time with? Kin or friends?
As far as I know, he had nobody at all in this world.
That's all. Thank you.
May the Lord watch over you.
Yeah. Yeah.
The blessings of our good Lord be with you, Father. I'm here in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa, investigating the matter. Can I ask you a few questions?
It seems Sir Hanush is employing children as investigators. But ask as you wish, boy.
Did you know Lubosh? What was he like?
Bit of a lost soul. Simple, rough fellow, but at heart I don't think he was such a bad person.
Did you know Lubosh?
Bit of a lost soul.
Did you notice anything suspicious recently?
My child, all sorts of suspicious things have been going on recently. People like Lubosh don't know what to do about it, and sometimes they do stupid things.
That's really not a lot of help to me, Father.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing on the day Neuhof was raided?
Unfortunately, I do know. And I'd like to help you with your investigation.
What?
I'm bound by certain vows that forbid me to tell you.
Vows more important than catching dangerous murderers?
There are laws of God above the laws of man, son. And
Father, surely you can't be serious. There must be situations in which you can make an exception.
there are things that apply always, no matter what the circumstances. And this is one of them.
For heaven's sake, Father, can you really look me in the eye and tell me that, when you know you may be condemning innocent people to death?
I can. Because if I broke that vow, the consequences would be much worse than if I didn't. Maybe not immediately, but one day.
Father, Lubosh was my only lead to the Neuhof raiders. Only he could tell me who was responsible for... If I don't find out who it was, it will probably happen again.
I wouldn't. But I can't betray the sanctity of the confessional. Suppose we talk it over in the evening, in the tavern, over a cup of good...
All right?
God be with you.
Я сейчас. Я здесь.
blessings of our Lord be...
And with you, lad. Take a seat. I'm sorry I can't tell you everything. But first I'd like to hear something about you, my son.
It doesn't matter where I'm from.
Sorry to have asked then. I was simply curious. And how did you come to get this assignment? I'd have expected...
He did, but I found a witness and the trail led here to Ujit, so he sent me here to follow it up.
Ah, well, congratulations. It's nice to see someone using their head. Now the most important thing. What actually happened in Noyo? The good folks hereabout are saying all kinds...
Tankard of ale for me.
The rumours aren't exaggerated this time, unfortunately. The Neuhoff stud farm was raided by bandits, but they didn't come to pillage or even take the horses. I'm sure they would have killed more, but the bandits quarrelled among themselves and broke off the attack. And judging by what's left of our Lubosh, they're still settling accounts.
I see it's every bit as bad as... Well then, here's to those poor souls who had to die.
I've told you all about me. Now it's your turn, Father. You don't look much like our parish priest at home. Well, we've had an agreeable chat, but now let's get down to business. So, about this confessional seal.
Do you... Henry, that's not how it works. There are matters in which you can't make exceptions, because if you do it once, you'll forever be tempted to do it. If people stop believing in the church because their confessional secrets are betrayed, they won't trust anyone, and that's worse than even the most hideous crime.
You're just making excuses. The people who say the church is corrupt are right. You don't care about anyone.
I'm sorry you see it that way. Really sorry.
I always wondered about the things a priest tells his congregation. Where else do you get the ideas for your sermons?
Well, Ujit isn't Prague. It's not enough to instruct people. They have to be entertained, too. If I only read from the Bible, I'd soon be preaching to an empty church.
Our priest wasn't exactly a bard. So what do you preach to your...
It has to be something topical. Condemning vices. And of course describing them in detail. The tongue lashing about the two popes goes down well these days. And stories from real life, with a nice moral to them, are popular as well. Especially if they're about fornication and similar scandalous vices.
Can you give me an example?
Well, recently a priest by the name of Jan Hus started preaching in Prague, in the Czech language, and the people liked it. I hear he always has a full house. A journeyman who heard him told me what Hus is preaching, and I like the sound of it. I'm thinking about putting it in my own repertoire.
What's so amazing about it?
The preaching of Master Jan Hus about Mother Church. The lamentable wealth in which the church is drowning has turned to poison, and nearly the whole of Christendom is contaminated. Just like a flock of hungry ravens, they settled on this land to devour every grain of gold and silver. They know no mercy. Their hearts are corrupted by longing for wealth, and they shamelessly profit from everything. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay and you will have absolution. What if the devil himself were to pay? Would he ascend to heaven too? With such money gained from the poor, they buy beautiful horses to ride and needless servants to pamper them. They gamble at dice and dress their whores in expensive fur, while Jesus Christ walked barefoot and had no place to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by... Amen!
Well, this Jan Hus character is quite a rebel.
Oh, the congregation will love it.
I don't doubt it.
Let's drink to that.
Funny. That last bit reminds me of someone.
What do you mean? My situation's completely different. Who preaches against the prelates and the clerics who are robbing the poor? I'm one with them in poverty and suffering and everything that troubles them. I drink with them and curse those stuffed habits in Sasau Monastery.
Don't you think it's a bit odd when someone boozes and lives in sin with a woman?
No, I don't.
What do you think of this Jan Hus?
He's certainly a wise man. A little overzealous for my taste. If he got out of Prague and came here for a look, I'm sure he'd stop condemning drinking and lying with women.
Where can I find out more about his teachings?
You like it? I copied down some of his sermons. If you're interested, you can read them at my presbytery.
What do the common folk think of it?
They like it. They're happy to hear someone say what they think themselves, but are afraid to say aloud. Things that make them angry. And they're calling for change. In a few years, it'll have grown beyond control. You mark my words, the people will rise up, and the church will be shaken to its very foundations.
Yeah, unless they burn him at the stake first.
Nonsense. They can't burn a master of the most respected university in Europe.
Coming.
Thanks for the sermon, but I think I've been morally uplifted enough. Oh, it's getting quite late.
Good name.
What do you suppose? We have a drink, of course.
Ah, that sounds like a good plan.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Серьезно? Получен новый уровень пьянства.
Przyszła bida mora lat, to nie ustoi żadnej chlap. Na kraj padł dziesięć smutek, do mnie loi rano utek, niech ich może zimaj sad, do wczera żylne staje krak, už sej mojí svatý muži, nechtěl bych bejbě jí kůži, nám je to jedno a tak si dáme jedno a požerem si huby jako poslední jen, buďme se vábí, ano rada slávy,
Hehe. Ух ты, шалун.
se sem a ty palje ven, ukaž kozy jako vozy, zejtra jen tu jsou nejdem, tak nalej mi hned a točí se svět.
Enough of this.
Bailiff, come on over here, sit down and have a drink with us.
Don't vex me again, Father. It's 3 hours past dusk, and curfew is long gone.
So what?
So, I'll have you all whipped and put in the stocks, and I'll write a letter to the bishop about you, priest.
Well, nothing to worry about then. Everyone knows the only one around here who can write is me.
Enough! Men, throw them out. Oh.
You looking for a fight? Henry, back me up.
Чё, бухим драться? Серьезно? Воу-воу-воу.
You think because I'm a man of the cloth, I won't kick your ass?
Воу-воу. Кто следующий? Так, кого отметелить? Бабки.
Would you like to have a little ring on the bell? No sooner said than done.
I'd love to. Henry, too, I'm sure. Right, Henry?
Stop that nonsense, Godwin. Are you out of your mind? What will people say?
They can say what they like. What do I care? What do they do to me? Watch the step, my dear. Careful, you don't hurt yourself.
Godwin, you're rude.
Here we are. Look at this beauty.
Oh. We can't do this, can we?
Who says? Get ringing, wench.
This is wonderful.
Ah, bloody oath. And now, my dears, comes the climax of the evening.
I feel quite hungry.
Godwin, you old goat.
Come here. Oh.
The priest has mounted up. What do you say, Henry? Shall we take a little ride of our own?
О, Господи. Контент не для детей. О. О. Так. Господи.
Well, I have to say that was a fine evening.
Godwin, you beast! Get up! Do you hear me? Wake up, you drunkards!
Oh, fucking hell. Where the... Oh, what the... Oh, who the hell are you? Oh, Henry. My great friend, Henry. We have a wonderful time.
Well, you certainly did, you old lecher. Now you better pull yourself together quick. You haven't much time. There's some water and something to eat on the table there, but if I were you, I would move my hairy arse before my flock eats me alive.
Oh, step on in my head. Oh, my guts. Oh, my poor suffering stomach. Oh, what was that woman on about? Wait, before my flock eats me alive. I've forgotten something. What have I forgotten?
Where the fuck am I?
What the fuck was it? Mass! Oh shit, I have to say mass. I gotta say mass. You have to help me.
How? You're the priest.
I can't do it in this state. Maybe the liturgy. But I have to give a sermon as well. Oh, this is a disaster. They're gonna excommunicate me. I'd like to help you, but you can. You can do the sermon for me.
What? So, first I investigate a murder no one wants investigated. Then I drunkenly keep the whole town up all night. And now you want me to preach at them from the pulpit? Do you want them to burn us at the stake?
No. No, I've got it. Suppose that Sir Ratzig's protege. You just came from studying in Prague. And you want to share the words of Master Jan Hus, who you recently heard preaching there. Henry, look. From what I remember, we might have overdone it a bit last night. And if the bailiff or someone else complains about me, the bishop's gonna have my guts for garters. So I'd appreciate it. Stop gaping at me like a stuffed squirrel and start helping.
You're mad. You're stark raving mad.
I'm not. It's a perfect plan. It's flawless. Oh. How about this? If you help me with this, I'll tell you who Lubosh's cronies are.
Задолбал рыгать. Ой, очко умение, пьянство, серьезно.
No, neither can I.
What do you want me to do exactly?
I'll go and start the liturgy. Then I'll introduce you. You give the sermon I told you yesterday in the tavern, and that's no need to drag it out. If it turns out well, I'll tell you what I know about Lubosh.
Christ almighty.
Wonderful. Let's get to it then.
Какой прист... А, то, что я побил этого? Набухался, побил.
Все, говорю, хорош. О, это прикольная тема.
Never show up. He can hardly walk after his caper's knocked out.
You were with them, you beast. Just you.
Look at him. Mother of God, any minute now he'll throw up.
Guess I couldn't sleep a wink last night with all that clamor.
In nomine Patris, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Accepit panem in sanctas at venerabiles a manus suas. Hac facite in meam commemorationem. Brothers and sisters, you may have had the honor of meeting Henry from Skalitz, who is here at the behest of Sir Hanush to investigate that heinous crime at Neuhof. You might not know that Henry recently visited Prague, where by the grace of God was able to hear Master Jan Hus from the esteemed Charles University preaching. I've managed to persuade Henry to stand here today in my stead and tell us what he heard. Because, as you all probably know, Jan Hus is a very popular preacher in Prague. So, Henry, you may begin.
Now I'm curious which one of them will puke first.
Hey!
Greetings, brothers and sisters in Christ. I am here to tell you about Mother Church and to show you through my words how she is falling into decay and abandon, how the once great mother of all Christians is losing her dignity and trading in souls like the merchants in the temple. But I am digressing.
That whelp wants to preach about the church.
Just as we are commanded to obey the priests in matters of virtue, so are we commanded to defy them face to face if they live contrary to God's commandments.
Hear that, Godwin?
It is the corruption of God's pastors here on earth that has brought misfortune on our heads. Plague, cumens, hunger, and chaos. The accursed wealth that the church is drowning in is poisoning almost the whole of Christendom. When dogs are fighting over a bone, take the bone and they will stop. Just like the flock of ravens that has descended on this land to peck up every speck of gold and silver. They show no mercy. Their hearts are poisoned by covetousness. They trade everything. Everything is for sale. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay, and you will have absolution. And the prelates sin and give themselves absolution.
For shame! Shame upon them!
And what sins? They live with harlots and keep concubines, even though only marital intercourse for the purpose of procreation is pure. If someone takes a woman or man only to satisfy their own lust,
Who seduces them to do so but Satan? And how much darker the sin if that man is a servant of the church? Who can turn his face to God, who fornicates and then puts on priestly robes?
Nothing we don't know about already.
Enough about sin, which the prelates are so fond of preaching about, and whose absolution they promise if you only pay enough coin to Mother Church. What if the devil himself were to pay? Will the bishops tell us he too would ascend to heaven? And what about those bishops? They sin without remorse, and with the money grasped from the poor for indulgences, they keep fine horses and hordes of servants to pamper them. They play dice and garb their mistresses in expensive furs, while Christ, the Lamb of God, walked barefoot and had nowhere to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too.
Down with the prelates! Away with them!
We're fortunate to have our good Father Godwin. At least he's a fair and simple man.
I say to you, in the words of Jan Hus, he who knows much, let him speak much. He who knows little, let him speak little. Let each speak as much as he knows, and he who knows nothing, let him at least teach his neighbour one virtuous deed by setting him good example and refraining from playing dice and from fornication. And that applies both to priests and to you, brothers and sisters.
That's his conclusion.
That is all I heard in Prague. Amen.
Have you no shame, you pair of buffoons? I'll be writing to the bishop of this. For shame.
Utterly blasphemous.
Can you believe such behavior? For men of the cloth to get drunk.
Va failhou.
So, is our deal still on?
Are you pulling my fucking pizzle? I couldn't have done worse myself if I'd puked on the altar.
Well, I'm no preacher.
Yeah, I noticed. And I wasn't the only one.
You can't be serious. After all that?
All what? All you making a complete hash of my sermon? You were supposed to help, not get me into even more trouble. Now I'll have the bishop on my back, and all the villagers. Just leave, I need to pull myself together.
And what am I supposed to do?
Find someone else to help you.
My respects to you.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre.
I don't know nothing about it, but ask all you want.
That man Lubosh who was murdered, what was he like?
I didn't really know him. He kept to himself, even in the tavern.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
Come to think of it, he was in church yesterday. He was even talking to the priest, and went to confession. I was wondering what he was up to take to the faith all of a sudden. But I suppose no sin's too dark for God's mercy.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
I was coming from the tavern very late that night, and I caught a glimpse of someone entering the village. He looked like he was in a hurry. It was only a shadow against the sky, but after what happened, I wouldn't wonder.
Do you know anyone Lubosh used to spend time with? Relatives or friends?
Not with anyone from the village. He used to sit in the tavern next to us sometimes, but he never said much.
That's all.
Take care now.
You, stop right where you are.
Surrender! You've committed a violation. You're under arrest. Hey! All right, you win. I surrender.
Я хотел сдаться, он сам сдался. Прикольно.
All right. I understand. You were seen thieving. You should have thought twice about what you're doing.
Are you pulling my pizzle? Don't you know who I am? You better watch your step, or I'll make things so hot for you, you'll be lucky to get a job slopping out piss pots.
But I was just... You there! Stop!
Скотина, не дал мне букварь дочитать.
Чувак, у меня что-то в папке Тай вообще пусто. Ну, в смысле, там АПП, и там пусто.
Good day to you.
I've come in the name of...
I don't know nothing about...
That man Lubos.
I didn't really know him.
Have you noticed anything suspicious?
Come to think of it, he was... I was wondering what he was up to.
Have you noticed...
I would...
Do you know what Lubos was?
I was coming from the tavern. He...
That's all.
Take care now.
Hey. Greetings. Of course.
I mean here.
Yeah, right.
In the presbytery.
Yes. So why are you surprised Godwin like...
I'm not.
Goodbye.
Good afternoon.
Boy.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm
I don't know how I can help you.
Who was this Lubos who was murdered?
You could see at first glance he was no good.
Have you noticed anything?
There wasn't sight or sound of him for a long time. And then yesterday...
Do you know what Lubos...
I don't think he was home.
Do you know who Lub...
As far as I know, he...
That's all.
Goodbye.
Jesus Christ.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa.
I don't know nothing.
That's all.
Ясно. То же самое скажут.
Good day to you.
I've come in the name...
I don't know nothing about...
That man Lou...
I didn't really know him.
Have you noticed anything?
Come to think, I was wondering what he was up.
Ясно.
Farewell.
Jesus Christ.
I've come in the name...
Sir Hanish gives a job like that to a young...
That man Lubos...
He was a strange one. Always drinking, bad-tempered. Lord knows how he made a living.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
I didn't see much of him lately. Not even in the tavern.
Do you know what Lubos...
I don't think he was home at all. Wait.
Do you know anyone Lubos used to spend time with?
I really don't know. As far as I know.
That's all.
May the Lord watch over you. Jesus Christ.
I've come in the name of Sir...
Of course.
That man Lubos who was murdered. What was he like?
He was a drunk who was always looking for a fight. Nobody liked him much, but...
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
Well, now I think of it, I hadn't seen him...
Do you know what Lubos was...
Not a clue.
Do you know anyone Lubos...
He was a loner. He didn't eat...
That's all. Thank you.
God be with you.
Good afternoon.
I've come in the name...
Ask all you want.
Who was this Lubosh?
Those that live by the sword, die by the sword.
Have you noticed anything suspicious?
Everything about him was suspicious.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhoff was...
How would I know?
Do you know who Lubosh used...
I don't know.
That's all. Thank you.
God bless.
God be with you. May the Lord watch over you.
Ясно.
A good day, Chip. God be with you.
Greetings. Goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
Good day to you. May the Lord watch over you.
God be.
Good day to you.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa.
Ask away.
Who was this Lubosh?
He was a drunkard and a beast, and lazy too.
Have you noticed anything suspicious?
The only thing seemed suspicious was how a rogue like him suddenly started going...
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhoff was raided?
What do I care about that scoundrel?
Do you know who Lubosh used?
He was always a loner, except lately he stopped.
That's all.
Good luck then.
Greeting. God bless.
What the?
What the hell was that?
Good after. Goodbye.
God be with you. God be with you.
Look out! My respects to you. May the Lord watch over you. Hey!
Hey, who's there? Good afternoon.
God bless.
Hey!
Good day to you.
God be with you.
Ow!
I see you know how to... I wouldn't have expected...
With a stick. I practice with a stick. God be with you.
Так, стоп.
Do you have any work with me?
My dear lad, I have more worries than I can. I have to deal with a local...
A witch?
The herb woman, old Gertrude. That devious...
Oh, don't tell me. The cows are giving blood instead of milk, and babies are being born with...
This is no laughing matter. Gertrude isn't evil. She just has peculiar ideas about what's good for people. A little bird told...
This isn't my...
Good luck to you.
Good afternoon. May the Lord watch over you.
I'll be with you.
May the Lord watch over you.
You up for a throw or two?
So, bring it on. Ah, it's not so bad after all. We'll see. No luck tonight.
It's just a while ago. Bloody hogs.
If I was in your shoes, I'd pass while the going's good. Ah, come on. It's time I had a throw. Ah, come on. It's time I had a throw. We'll see. This'll be the one. That's it. Should I, shouldn't I? No, I daren't. Not afraid of anything, eh? If I was in your shoes, I'd pass while the going's good. That's all. Use your head, man. You'll lose everything. It's no big deal. He didn't have much anyway. That'll do me. Your turn. Dice is made to be thrown, not to sit on the table ignored.
Slopped all over again.
Ah, come on. It's time I had a throw.
Money, money, money.
Who's brave enough to try horseradish? Hotter than a burning torch. Come now.
Jesus Christ be farewell.
What? What in the... Good God.
May the Lord watch over you. God bless.
Good luck, then.
Huh?
May the Lord watch over you. What's going on out there?
May the Lord watch over you.
Jesus Christ be... God be with you.
God be with you. Take care.
What the hell was that?
My respects to you. God be with you.
Good evening. God bless.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa.
Ask all you want, lad.
Who was this, Luke?
Those that live by the sword, die by...
That's all.
Goodbye.
Есть идея.
Good health to you. God be with you. That was the last straw. What are you doing? Huh? Now you've got me fucked. What the fuck are you doing? Help! Here! Here! Don't let him get away! For fuck's sake!
Suffer a guilty conscience.
Quick! They're thrashing each other.
Quick! My! Have a look at those melons! Wouldn't they make a fine treat? Feel free to have a nog.
God be with you.
Короче, я хочу загрузиться с последнего сохранения, где я рассказывал молитву.
You there! Stop! Here! Way off! Jesus Christ!
Damn it! Mom! For fuck's sake! What are you doing here? Tired of life, are you? Not a good. I surrender! Hey, there's fellows beating each other over there. Do something about it.
Christ, I think. Guard!
What are you
Hey,
playing at with
you're
that
not allowed to
weapon?
walk around here with a weapon drawn.
Hey, you're not allowed to walk around here with a weapon drawn. Put it away.
Christ!
Oh my God! Help! Murderer!
Oh my God! Hey, you! Don't move a muscle!
My God!
Surrender!
Guard!
You
Quick!
committed a crime.
There's a corpse
There's been
there!
a murder! Help!
Could have had enough.
Murderer! Don't let him get away! Murderer! There! Fuck! He's just killed someone! Ah!
Мне пофиг, все равно сейчас буду загружаться.
What's there?